this because my first loser is the top two picks of the 2021 NFL draft. Of course, Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. Trevor Lawrence in week two against the Denver Broncos threw for 118 yards, a touchdown, and two interceptions. One of those interceptions, I gotta say, I'll let the homer come out. I don't care. Patrick Surtain with arguably the best, I would say that was the best interception of the week. One of the best of the season so far. I mean, arguably the best of the season. And that was for his first interception of his career in his first start of his career in the second game of his career. It was a fantastic over-the-shoulder sideline catch, man. You don't see very many defensive backs doing that, and that looked great, but I digress. And on the season, Trevor Lawrence now has 450 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. On the other hand, you got Zach Wilson, who threw for 210 yards, no touchdowns, and 4 interceptions in week two. I think he was 2 of his first 5 passes. His first 2 attempts were intercepted, and he went 2 for 5, and his 3 of his first 5 passes were picked off. Well, his first 5 passes, at least if you want to look at the bright side here, Jets fans, he did have a 100% completion percentage. Just say he threw more passes to the other team. So, that was one of the worst starts I've seen to a game, quite frankly. And right now he has 468 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions on the season through the air. So things aren't looking good for either quarterback, but who is performing worse at this point in time? Of course, I mean, I'll put a statement here before I get into this. First off, in any way, are these games really indicative of the careers that either quarterback is going to have? We can't expect rookie quarterbacks, no matter how high of a prospect they are, no matter how good they seemed in college. We have to give rookie quarterbacks time. We can't expect them to be fantastic and all-stars as soon as they get into the first NFL action. They're still really early in their careers, really young stuff, don't have the best supporting cast. One doesn't have a good head coach. And so we have to give them time to develop. I will preface this with we have to give these quarterbacks time to develop. But at the same time, going off of what we've seen, it's not looking good at this point. Zach Wilson, in my opinion, is still the worst quarterback of the two, but it's a really, really slim margin. I mean, Trevor Lawrence's poor play isn't being talked about nearly as much as it should, and he should be in the conversation more, and Zach Wilson less, of the worst quarterback performance so far of these rookies. But it's a really close competition. I would say Zach Wilson is the worst quarterback. I'd also argue that he has the worst supporting cast, though. Corey Davis, Mims, and Braxton Berrios have not done much this year. And I would easily say that Jones Jr., Chenault, and Chark are the better talent, are the better trio at the receiver position. Right now, the Jets are averaging about 100 rushing yards a game. Jack's averaging just 75, though. And that's a really important stat, especially for these rookie quarterbacks, especially for these young guys trying to get acclimated to the NFL. Because there's 2 really good things for the 2 most important things for a rookie quarterback is an offensive line and a run game. The run game takes pressure off of them. They don't have to pass the ball as much for as far and be as good through the air if you could depend on the run game. Also, if you don't have a good run game, that means these teams don't have to stack the boxes. They can run more exotic coverages against these quarterbacks, and obviously it's hard to read, harder to perform there. If you have a good running game, they have to load the box up a little more. That opens up a little more space for these passing windows. You can read the coverage a little better, probably play a little bit more man than zone, or at least it's a little more obvious of what they're running there. So a run game is fantastic for any quarterback, but especially a rookie quarterback here. And speaking about the offensive line, though, Zach Wilson's been sacked 10 times in 2 games. I know I'm not great at math either, like a lot of you might be. That's 5 sacks a game. He's on his ass, and that's not even talking about pressures or rushes or knockdowns. That's just sacks compared to Trevor Lawrence's 2 sacks he's taking on the season. A lot better margin there. Also, but then another kind of bouncing point is Zach Wilson has a better head coach. Now he's not offensive minded coach, so you can't put too much of the blame on Rob Saleh. Still a fantastic coach. He's obviously a defensive minded guy. Well, he was one of the best defensive coordinators in the league last year with the 49ers. And if you're Trevor Lawrence, you're kind of stuck with Urban Meyer, who's the most overrated coach in the league, one of the worst hirings of the offseason, and a guy that probably won't make it past the bye week. Like I said last week, they'll be 0-7 going to the bye week, and Urban Meyer will be looking for a job at USC. When Eric Bieniemy, eventually he's not going to be taking the USC job because he's going to be going on over to the Chicago Bears once the Bears finally fired Matt Nagy. That is a statement. That is my statement. And that is my official prediction here. And so, mark it down. I've said it on Twitter. This is what they should do, and this is what's going to happen. So, Zach Wilson, so far, he is the worst quarterback. He needs to throw more. It helps that Trevor Lawrence is throwing 2 more touchdowns than he has. But also, it's just, I guess it's just not a good start for either guy, though. I think that's very safe to say at this point. And also, in terms of strength of schedule, the Jets have now faced off against the Panthers and the Patriots, 2 pretty formidable defenses. And the Jags have faced off against the Texans and the Broncos. I mean, both the Patriots and the Broncos are hard matchups for these quarterbacks, and both Bill Belichick and Vic Fangio are historically great against rookie quarterbacks. So it was just in general a tough week 2 for either guy there.